Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Happy, Healthy, Whole. This video is going to be about desiring things that other people have, which they call it coveting things in the Bible, so to speak. It's a sin to covet things that other people have or desire things that other people have. And it's kind of there's a fine line between seeing something that somebody else has and being inspired by their level of hustle and drive and being inspired by them being able to get something or achieve something than coveting something that somebody has. I think more so when we speak about it in biblical terms, we're talking about desiring someone else's spouse or something like that, wishing you could have that man or that woman in your life, because that man and that woman's already married. That is not a good thing. But if you say, I desire to find a woman of my own like that, or, desire to find me a man that will treat me the way that this person's husband treats them, that's not necessarily coveting something, something that someone else possesses. That's what I'm trying to say here. Anyway, I think you get the picture. There's a difference between being inspired by somebody versus wanting to take what somebody has. Wanting to take what somebody has that's what I'm speaking about. You should not want to take away from somebody else for your own happiness. That's not a good thing. There's so many people out here and so many things out here that you shouldn't have to live your life around taking something from someone else or being in a space where you can only love somebody that somebody else has married or something like that. That's going too far. You have to learn how to let those things go. I will tell you this story. I worked in a professional capacity at this company. And I had this woman to come in my office one day, and she said to me, I wish I was you. I was very taken back by her statement. I was like, why do you wish you were me? She was like, because you're so beautiful, everybody likes you, and I just wish I was you. You're a shapely woman, and, men find you attractive. And, I sat back and I was like, okay. I said, but you shouldn't want to be me. I said, I'm going to give you a glimpse of what it's like to be me just for a minute. And I would just want you to think about it when you leave my office. Think about, do you really want to have the problems that I have? Do you really want to live the life that I live? Because I proceeded to tell this woman, and she was a heavier woman, and she wasn't beautiful by the standards that we set in the media and in magazines and stuff, but she had her own beauty. She had her own level of attractiveness, that once a man got to know her and know her personality, they could very much so appreciate her, who as she was, and I told her, I said, let me explain something to you about what you consider beautiful or what you consider desirable. I said, anytime a man approaches me, I have to think to myself, okay, is he in competition with somebody else? Is he trying to prove a point to somebody else? Or does he really want to get to know me? Or does he really like me? Has he had a conversation with me in the past that made him double back and say, hey, I'd like to take the time to get to know you better? Or did he just approach me simply based on looks, simply based on my body, or simply based on someone else's perception of me? And I say that because I have had men to approach me that were in competition with each other and I knew nothing about it. They would be like, I bet I can get her number, or I bet I can get her to go on a date with me, or I bet I can do this, or I bet I can do that with her. You see what I'm saying? So anytime I am approached, I have to be a little bit more guarded. Not saying that someone that is less attractive doesn't need to be guarded, but I have to think about all these different things whenever I'm approached by a man, because they could be approaching me for all the wrong reasons. And they don't know me from the next girl. They don't know me from her or the next one or the next one or the next one. So anytime I am approached and I exchange numbers with somebody, I always ask God to show me this person's heart. Let me know if this is someone that I should invest in, and I'll take the time. I'll kind of try to fill them out and see what their motivations are or what have you. And a lot of times guys don't make it past a certain point because, with me anyway, because I can pick up on what they're trying to do. I'm like, hey, no, I'm not really about that. I don't, I'm not interested in developing that type of relationship with someone. But thank you for your interest. On to the next. So I was talking to her and I was letting her know, I was like, you may think it is better just because you're on the outside looking in. I told her, I said, but when a man approaches you and asks you out on a date, I said, and you present that before God, and you know that this man has been paying you some attention and he took the time to watch you a little while before he approached you and this and that, you may have something special from the onset. And I told her, I said, I don't know that. All I know is this man approached me, but this man could be approaching me because he just wants to have a sexual relationship with me. And once he realizes that I'm not interested in just having a sexual relationship with me, then that's the end of that. You see what I'm saying? So I'm just like, don't always think that it's better to be someone else. It's better to be pretty by someone else's standards. There is beauty in all of God's creatures. I don't care who you are. There is beauty in you. And don't let anybody tell you that you're not beautiful. Don't let anybody tell you that there is nothing beautiful about you, because that is not true. I am here to tell you that is not true. I have met some of the most attractive men with some of the most ugly hearts. They just didn't care about anybody but themselves. they were completely narcissistic and just not and emotionally unavailable. The only emotion that they wanted to have was you feeling them as much as they felt themselves. Like, they didn't want to invest in people, but they wanted people to invest in them. And all because of how they looked. They had no depth to them whatsoever. So keep in mind to always, always, always present any situation before God. Even if it's somebody that you know and you thought, that, oh, God must be bringing this person to me because whatever. If God didn't necessarily put you in that space, that may not be true. Because there's been times when I was like, oh, okay, well, it must be God because I was not even looking. I wasn't this, I wasn't that, I wasn't trying. The devil also knows what your desires are. And the devil can send somebody too. So you just have to be careful and don't spend your time always wanting to be somebody else or look like somebody else. Because this woman, surprisingly enough, this woman was like in her 40s. This wasn't a young girl saying this. I know there are a lot of young people out there that are trying to figure out who they are and stuff like that. And yeah, they want to be more like this person or more like that. I went through that phase too. When I was growing up, I wanted to be like my Aunt Lisa. I thought that she was just everything, honey. She went to college and she was so beautiful to me. And I just wanted to figure out a way to grow up and be like her, and that's normal for young people, for children in primary school and middle school and even in high school. But once you become an adult and you start to come into your own, don't worry so much about covetousness and wanting to be so much like somebody else that you want their life or you wish you were them or all of that. God didn't make you to be that other person. God made that person to deal with the extremes that they have to deal with in their life. And you have no idea what it is like to be Kim Kardashian or what it's like to be Beyonce or what it's like to be Kelly Rowland or any of these people that, we look up to as celebrities. As young ladies, we may look up to these women. When I saw an interview with Shantae Moore and I realized that there was a time in her life where she just wanted God to end it, I was amazed. I was completely taken back. I was like, Shantae Moore? I grew up idolizing Shantae Moore, and to this day, I still think she's the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in life, even though I've never even seen her or met her in person. But I couldn't believe that she hurt so much that she didn't want to live anymore. I couldn't believe that. So you don't know what somebody else is going through. Just because you find them beautiful or just because you think that they have a charmed life, it doesn't mean anything. Put God first and let him charm your life. And let him charm your mister as well. And don't spend your life wishing you were somebody else or wishing you had something that someone else has. Okay?